The
amazing how
alien
much this
market
place
was
has
alive with
changed since the
strange
last time I was
sounds,
here.
glowing lights, and
Yes, the
voices that
elders have
echoed
worked
from
hard to
100 different
rebuild.
species. Stalls stretched across the dusty street, each filled with things no human had ever seen before: glowing crystals, bottled storms, and living pets that had too many eyes. Among this chaos, a human traveler moved slowly, his boots crunching on the ground. His name was Daniel. To the aliens around him, he was just another off-worlder, a curious human wandering where he should not. But Daniel's eyes were wide with wonder. Every corner of the market felt like stepping into another world. He stopped at a small stall, where a merchant with gray scales and long teeth waved at him. The sign above the stall was written in broken galactic common: "Love companions, cheap, loyal, yours forever." Daniel frowned. Love companion? Probably some kind of robot, he thought. He imagined a silly toy, or maybe a machine designed to help lonely travelers. He laughed softly. What is it? A translator bot? A pet? Daniel asked the merchant. The alien's yellow eyes glimmered. Very loyal. Very obedient. You buy, she follow forever. Daniel raised an eyebrow. She? That was strange. Still, curiosity pulled him closer. Behind the merchant's counter, he noticed a small cage pushed into the shadows. Inside, something moved not at first. He thought it was a doll. Tiny, fragile, sitting quietly with knees hugged to her chest. But then the figure lifted her head, and Daniel froze. It was not a robot. It was a girl. Her skin was pale blue, her hair silver white like frost, and her eyes glowed faintly, as if they held trapped stars. She was small, no taller than a child, but her face looked older, filled with sadness and hope at the same time. She was shivering, wearing nothing but a thin cloth. When she saw Daniel, her lips curved into the faintest smile. Daniel's stomach tightened. This isn't a machine. This is a living person. The merchant hissed, Yes, yes. She is yours if you buy. She is not useful here. You take her. Cheap price. Daniel looked around. Other aliens glanced at him, whispering to each other, their eyes full of strange curiosity. Some looked amused, others relieved, as if they had been waiting for someone to take her away. Daniel shook his head. This is insane. You're selling people? The merchant leaned closer, whispering, Not people. Not valuable. Broken property. You buy or she die here. The girl's small hands gripped the bars of the cage. Her voice was soft, trembling but clear. Please, buy me. Take me away. Daniel's chest tightened. He had not come here to be a hero. He had only been curious, exploring this alien bazaar. But the look in her glowing eyes cut through him like a blade. She was begging, desperate, and he could not walk away. He sighed. Fine, I'll take her. The merchant's grin stretched wide. With a few credits transferred, the cage clicked open. The girl crawled out slowly, her legs weak, but her eyes shining with joy. She bowed her head and whispered, Thank you, Master. Don't call me that, Daniel muttered quickly, feeling heat rise in his face. I'm not your master. You're free now. But she only shook her head and smiled wider, as if she had finally found safety. Daniel glanced around again. Strangely, the aliens who had been watching were no longer whispering. Some turned away, pretending not to see. Others smirked, as if they knew something he did not. He led the girl away from the stall, deeper into the market. What's your name? He asked. She looked up at him with glowing eyes. Lyra. All right, Lyra, Daniel said. I didn't mean to buy you. I thought, well, it doesn't matter. You're safe now. That's what matters. Her small hand gripped his sleeve tightly, as if she feared he might vanish. Safe because of you. For a moment, Daniel almost smiled, but the unease in his chest only grew. The way the merchants had looked at him, the way the crowd had seemed so eager for him to take her. It was too strange. He whispered to himself, "What did I just get myself into?" As they walked through the glowing market lights, Lyra leaned closer and spoke softly, almost in a secret tone. "They will come for me, and now they will come for you too." Daniel stopped in his tracks. Her voice was gentle, but her words sent a chill through his bones. The snowy wind from beyond the market gates howled like a warning, and Daniel realized saving her was only the beginning. The night sky above the alien city was a strange mix of colors. Purple clouds drifted slowly, lit by glowing towers and neon signs. Strange smells filled the air: smoke, burning metal, and sweet alien spices. Daniel walked fast through the crowded streets, his heart pounding. The small alien girl clinging to his arm thought her steps were light and weak, but she never let go of him. Every now and then, she looked up at him with a smile that was too bright for someone who had just been freed from a cage. Her glowing eyes shone like twin stars. Daniel sighed. "You don't need to hold on so tight. You're free now, remember?" But Lyra only shook her head, her silver hair brushing against her cheeks. I don't want to let go." The words hit him harder than he expected. There was no fear in her voice, only relief, like she had found something she never thought she would. As they reached a quieter alley, Daniel stopped and crouched down to face her. "Listen, Lara, I didn't mean to buy you. I thought that cage was some kind of joke, but I couldn't leave you there." She tilted her head, confused. "You saved me. That makes you my master, my protector." Daniel groaned softly. "Stop calling me that. I'm not your master. I'm just a guy who made a mistake." But Lyra only smiled wider. Her face lit up, and for the first time, Daniel noticed something strange. Her skin shimmered faintly in the dim light, almost like frost catching sunlight. She was fragile, but there was something powerful hidden beneath that small frame. Before Daniel could speak again, a sound echoed through the alley. A metallic click. He turned quickly, spotting 3 tall figures at the far end. They were cloaked, their faces hidden, but their glowing weapons were not. Daniel felt his stomach tighten. Great. Trouble already. Lyra's grip on his sleeve grew tighter. She whispered, trembling, "They are here." Already. The cloaked figures stepped closer, speaking in a low alien tongue Daniel couldn't understand. But their meaning was clear. Their eyes were on Lyra, not him. Daniel pulled her behind him. "Stay back." One of the figures hissed in broken common. "Human, leave the girl. Walk away. No harm to you." Daniel froze. Walk away? That would be the smart thing to do. She wasn't his responsibility. He could hand her over, forget this mess, and live another day. But when he glanced back at her, her tiny hands clutching his sleeve, her glowing eyes full of fear, he knew he couldn't. "No," Daniel said firmly. "She's with me." The cloaked figure's eyes narrowed. "Then you die with her." They raised their weapons. Blue light hummed, energy charging. Daniel's heart raced. He had no gun, no blade, nothing but his fists. He wasn't ready for this fight. And then something happened. Lyra stepped forward. Her small body trembled, but she raised her hand. A faint glow sparked around her fingers, like lightning trying to escape. Daniel's eyes widened. "What are you?" A burst of energy shot out, hitting the ground in front of the cloaked figures. The stone cracked, glowing with heat. The attacker stumbled back in shock. The energy faded as quickly as it appeared. Lyra collapsed to her knees, gasping for breath. Her power had drained her completely. Daniel grabbed her before she fell. His hands shook as he held her small body. She was warm, burning with exhaustion. The attackers recovered, glaring at him. One spat. "You don't understand what she is. She will destroy you. She will destroy all of us." Daniel's mind spun. What is she? Before the cloaked figures could strike again, a loud alarm echoed through the streets. Patrol ships flew above, searchlights cutting through the night. The attackers cursed in their alien tongue and vanished into the shadows. Daniel didn't waste a second. He lifted Lyra into his arms and ran through the maze of alleys, the neon lights flashing across her pale skin. Her voice was faint, weak, but she managed to whisper, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use it." Daniel tightened his grip. "Don't apologize. You just saved us." But deep inside, fear gnawed at him. What kind of power had he just witnessed? Who were those cloaked hunters? And why did they want her so badly? When he finally stopped at an abandoned shelter, he set her down gently on a dusty blanket. She curled up, still shivering, but her eyes met his. "Daniel," she whispered, "you are different. The others, they would have left me. But you stayed." He swallowed hard. "Yeah, well, maybe I'm stupid." Her lips curved into a small smile. "No, you are human." Daniel sat beside her in silence, his thoughts racing. He had come to this alien world as a traveler, nothing more. But now he was caught in something far bigger, something that started with a mistake in a marketplace, and might end with the entire galaxy watching him dot as he stared at the tiny alien girl, resting yet still smiling, even in her weakness. Daniel realized one thing. This was no ordinary love companion, and her secret could destroy them both. The small alien girl followed the human everywhere, her bright eyes full of curiosity, her steps light as snowflakes. The market had given him no manual, no guide, only her smile and strange laughter. At first he thought it was a mistake, but slowly he began to realize there was something different about her one evening. As they crossed the old steel bridge outside the colony, she stopped suddenly, her small hand gripping his sleeve tight. Her face turned pale, her eyes glowing faint blue. She whispered a word he could not understand. It was soft, but heavy like a secret. The human leaned closer, asking what she meant, but she shook her head, frightened, as if someone might hear later that night. While the human rested in his small quarters, he heard a faint hum, like music, not from any machine, not from outside, but from her. The little alien girl sat near the window, her body glowing faintly, humming a song that felt older than the stars. It was beautiful, but also full of sorrow. The human felt chills. He realized she was no ordinary companion. The next morning, trouble arrived. 3 tall aliens dressed in black armor came to the colony. They walked with sharp steps, asking questions, showing a strange symbol. They claimed they were searching for a missing one, rare and precious, a creature that did not belong in human hands. The human felt his chest tighten. He knew they were looking for her. The girl hid behind him, trembling, her small fingers clinging to his arm, her eyes wide, her breath quick. The armored aliens scanned every face in the colony, their voices cold, their weapons ready. They said if anyone was hiding the creature, there would be punishment. The human swallowed hard. He could feel his heart pounding. But then something happened. The girl whispered again. Only this time her words carried power. A faint wind stirred the air. The armored aliens stopped for a moment. As if confused, their scanners blinked, their heads turned side to side, unable to focus. The human realized she had done something unnatural, something impossible. That night, when the danger passed, he confronted her. He asked who she truly was. She lowered her head, her glowing eyes wet with tears. Finally, in her soft, trembling voice, she confessed. She was not a simple companion, not a servant, not a toy. She was a lost heir to a forgotten alien throne, a secret many wanted to control. The human froze, his hands shaking. He had not bought a companion at the market. He had bought a key, a living key to a galactic struggle, one that could bring war or peace, one that many powerful beings would kill to possess. And now she was looking at him with hope, as if he was the only one who could protect her. The human could not sleep that night. His mind kept spinning like a broken machine. He looked at the small alien girl resting quietly, her breathing calm, her glow faint like starlight. She looked so fragile, yet her secret was heavy, heavier than anything he had ever carried in his life. He wondered why fate had chosen him, an ordinary man, to guard something so important outside. The colony grew restless. Whispers spread fast. Some said the armored aliens would return. Others said they were already hiding among the shadows, waiting, watching, ready to strike. The human felt eyes on him wherever he walked. Merchants turned away quickly. Neighbors avoided his gaze, as if they knew he was hiding something dangerous. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the frozen mountains, the girl tugged at his sleeve again, her eyes glowing brighter than before. She pointed toward the horizon, her voice shaky but certain. She said they must leave soon. If they stayed, the hunters would find them. Her words were simple, but her tone was final. It was not a choice. It was a warning. They packed quickly, carrying only what they could. The cold air bit their skin as they slipped out of the colony. Moving through the snowy wasteland, the silence of the frozen land was deep, broken only by their breaths and the crunch of their steps. The human carried her when her small legs grew weak. His muscles burned, but he kept going, because something inside told him she was worth every struggle. Halfway through the night, they reached an old outpost. Broken walls, frozen metal, a place abandoned long ago. They thought they could rest, but the moment they entered, the girl stiffened. Her glow pulsed wildly. She whispered that someone had been here. Recently, her eyes scanned the darkness, her small hand pointing to strange marks on the ground. Suddenly, the sound of metal boots echoed in the cold. The armored aliens had tracked them. Their red scanners lit the broken outpost walls, their voices sharp, demanding the human to surrender the creature. The human pressed the girl against his chest, his heart pounding. He had no weapon strong enough, no plan clever enough. He was just one man standing against them. But then something changed. The girl lifted her head, her tears shining like crystals. She whispered in a language he did not know. The air trembled. The old walls groaned. The snow outside began to swirl like a storm. The armored aliens stopped in their tracks. Their scanners flickered. Their armor sparked. It was as if the world itself had turned against them. The human stared in shock. He realized she was not only an heir, not only a secret. She carried power, a power that could bend nature itself. She fell weak in his arms, her glow fading, her voice barely a whisper. She said the power came with a cost. Every time she used it, her life burned shorter. The human felt rage and fear twist inside him. He understood now. Protecting her was not just about hiding from hunters. It was about saving her from herself, from the very gift that made her so valuable. He tightened his grip around her, swearing silently, no matter who came, no matter what storm rose, he would not let her be taken, not by enemies, not by fate. And somewhere in the shadows, unseen eyes watched them, a figure neither alien nor human, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The night grew darker, the snowstorm howled louder, but inside the ruined outpost, a human held the small alien girl close, her glow faint, her breath weak. He whispered to her that she was safe, but inside he felt the heavy weight of fear pressing down. He knew the armored hunters would return, stronger, and he knew her secret was too great to remain hidden for long from the shadows. The unknown figure finally moved, cloaked in darkness, tall and silent, neither like the armored aliens, nor like any human he had seen before. The figure stepped into the moonlight, revealing silver eyes that reflected the storm. The human tightened his grip on the girl, demanding to know who he was. The stranger did not answer at first, only studied them with a gaze that felt both ancient and dangerous at last. The figure spoke, his voice calm, but sharp. He said the girl did not belong to the hunters, nor to the human. She belonged to something far greater. He called her the spark of rebirth, words that carried weight the human could not understand. The girl stirred weakly, whispering his name in fear. She recognized him, and that recognition made the human's blood run cold. The stranger claimed he was a guardian once, sworn to protect her kind, but he had been betrayed, cast aside. Now he had returned not as a guardian, but as a seeker. He wanted the girl, not to kill, but to use her power for himself. The human's fists clenched. Anger rising, he shouted that she was not an object, not a key, not a prize. She was a living being who deserved freedom. The stranger's silver eyes narrowed. He stepped closer, the storm outside responding to his presence. The snow twisted like claws. The air grew heavy. The ruined walls cracked. The human felt his knees weaken. He realized this was no ordinary being. The stranger was something far older, something tied to the girl's secret bloodline. The girl clung to the human's shirt, her eyes glowing brighter despite her weakness. She whispered that if she went with the stranger, he would take her power and end thousands of lives. If she stayed, the hunters would never stop chasing them. She begged him to choose wisely, her voice shaking, her tears burning against his chest. The human stood there, caught between two impossible paths. The stranger's silver gaze on one side, the endless hunters on the other. The girl's fragile heartbeat in his arms. He wanted to run, to hide, but he knew there was no escape. He was trapped in a storm, bigger than any human should face then. In the silence, the stranger revealed one last truth. He said the human himself was not here by chance. He had been chosen. His blood carried a hidden mark, a bond that tied him to the girl's fate. The girl gasped, her eyes wide. She looked at the human as if seeing him for the first time, as if realizing he too carried a secret he did not yet know. The human felt his chest tighten. His mind spinning, he asked what the mark meant, but the stranger only smiled, cold and knowing, and whispered that the truth would break him when it was revealed. The storm roared louder. The hunters drew closer. The stranger stepped nearer, and the girl's glow pulsed like a heartbeat of light. Everything was ready to shatter, and the human understood that the real battle had not yet begun. It was only the beginning. The storm outside screamed like a living beast. The wind clawed at the broken outpost walls. Snow poured in through the cracks, but inside the human stood frozen, his arms tight around the small alien girl. The silver-eyed stranger's words burned in his mind. A hidden mark, a secret bond, chosen by fate. He did not want to believe it. Yet deep inside he felt something stir, something that had always been there. Waiting, the girl pressed her glowing forehead against his chest. Whispering his name softly, she begged him not to listen. She said the stranger spoke with poison, with lies twisted into half-truths, but her voice trembled as if even she was not certain. Her eyes full of fear. She looked at the human as if he might change into someone else before her very eyes. The stranger stepped closer, his cloak whipping in the storm, his silver eyes glowing like fire. He told the human to give her to him. He said the hunters were only vultures, blind and greedy, but he was destiny. He was the one who could use her power to reshape the galaxy. He promised the human that if he surrendered her, he too would learn his true strength. He too would rise above all others. The human's fists shook, anger rising like a wave. He shouted back that power meant nothing if it destroyed lives. He shouted that she was not a tool, not a weapon. She was just a girl who deserved freedom. His words echoed in the ruined walls, but the stranger only smiled, calm and dangerous, as if he had expected that answer suddenly. The girl cried out, her glow bursting brighter. The hunters had arrived, their red scatters cut through the storm, their armored boots shaking the ground. They surrounded the outpost, their voices harsh, demanding surrender. The human's heart pounded. The stranger did not move. Instead, he turned his gaze toward the hunters with a look of disgust. What happened next was chaos. The hunters stormed in. Their weapons charged. The girl screamed. The stranger raised his hand, and the storm itself bent to his will. Snow and wind slammed into the armored soldiers. Their weapons sparked. Their armor cracked. The human shielded the girl with his body, his teeth clenched, his mind racing. Then something inside him broke open. A heat surged in his chest. His veins burned, his vision blurred. For a moment he thought he was dying, but then the glow from the girl flowed into him, not by choice, but by some hidden bond. His arms shook. His breath came out like fire in the frozen air. He stumbled, but did not fall. The stranger's silver eyes widened, as if he had been waiting for this exact moment. The human roared, the sound not human at all. Energy burst from his hands like waves of light. The hunters were thrown back into the snow, their weapons scattered, their scanners fried. The girl clutched him tightly, her eyes wide, whispering that the mark had awakened. The bond was real. He was tied to her, and now her power flowed through him. The stranger laughed softly, a sound cold and sharp. He said the bond was stronger than he imagined. He said together they could reshape entire worlds, but only if the human chose the right path. The girl shook her head, begging him not to believe, tears streaking down her glowing cheeks. The human stood in the middle of the storm, his arms burning with power. He did not understand. Hunters crawling back to their feet, the stranger watching with hungry eyes, the girl trembling in his embrace. And he realized one truth. The choice he made here would decide everything. Her fate, his fate, and perhaps the fate of the galaxy itself. The storm became a battlefield, snow twisting like blades, wind howling like voices of the dead. The human stood at the center, the girl in his arms, her glow pulsing with his heartbeat. The hunters regrouped, their armor sparking, their weapons humming with deadly light. The stranger stood calm, silver eyes gleaming, his cloak snapping like wings in the blizzard. The human felt the power burning inside him. Wild and untamed, his arms shook, his chest ached. He wanted to scream, he wanted to run, but something inside told him there was no running anymore. The bond with the girl was alive. Every breath she took was tied to his own. Her strength was his strength, her weakness his weakness. Together they were one. The stranger spoke, his voice cutting through the storm like a blade. He said the hunters were nothing, insects in the path of destiny. He said the human was wasting his gift by protecting the girl. He told him to embrace it, to unleash it fully, to take the galaxy in his hands. The human stared at him, shaking. Torn between fear and rage, the girl clutched his chest. Her voice weak but clear. She begged him not to listen. She said the power was dangerous. It could burn him from the inside. It could kill him. She said what made him human was not the power, but the choice to protect. The choice to stand even when the universe tried to break him. Her tears fell like sparks on his skin. The hunters attacked. Beams of red light cut through the storm. The ground shook, walls shattered. The human roared, raising his arms. A wave of raw energy exploded outward. Hunters were thrown screaming into the snow. Their armor cracked, their weapons destroyed. The stranger smiled wider, silver eyes glowing. He said yes. That was the beginning. That was what he wanted to see. But the human did not stop. He pushed harder, light tearing through the storm. Every strike draining him, every surge pulling at his soul. The girl cried out, begging him to stop, her glow dimming as if his power was stealing hers. His knees buckled, his chest felt like it would burst, but he refused to fall, not while she needed him, not while enemies stood. Finally, the stranger moved. Faster than the eye could follow, he appeared before the human, hand raised, his silver gaze locked onto the girl. He said she belonged to him. He said the human was only a vessel, a stepping stone, nothing more. The human's fury ignited. He swung with everything he had. Light burst from his hand like thunder. The stranger caught it with one palm. The air cracked, the storm split, the ground trembled, snow rose like a wall around them. Hunters fled into the darkness. The girl screamed. The human's strength waned. His arms shook violently. The stranger leaned closer, his silver eyes burning. He whispered that no human could resist destiny, that no human could fight forever. The human clenched his teeth, blood on his lips, his voice raw. He shouted that maybe humans could not fight forever, but they could fight long enough. With one final surge, he poured everything into the bond, not for himself, not for power, but for her. The girl's glow blazed like a star. Her cry shook the storm. Together their energy struck the stranger. Silver light against golden flame. The explosion lit the night sky. Snow turned to fire. Silence followed. When the smoke cleared, the stranger was gone. Only his echo remained in the wind, promising that he would return, that this was not the end. The hunters scattered, broken and defeated. The storm finally calmed, leaving only quiet snow falling gently from the sky. The human fell to his knees, his arms still wrapped around the girl. She looked at him with tears, whispering that he had chosen her, chosen to fight for her. Even at the cost of himself, his body trembled, his breath weak, but he smiled, a tired smile. He said that was what humans did. They fought for what mattered, even when the stars themselves stood against them. And in that quiet snow, with the storm fading, the girl's glow brighter than ever, the bond between them stronger, a new story began, one of danger, one of destiny, one that would carry them far beyond the frozen world, into a galaxy that had no idea what kind of human it was about to face.